There is a quiet tragedy unfolding right now. It doesn't make headlines, it doesn't bleed, it doesn't burn, but it consumes millions of lives from the inside. Someone wakes up at 3:17 a.m., heart racing, replaying a conversation that hasn't happened yet. Someone else spends the entire afternoon rehearsing failure in advance. Another scrolls through the news, absorbing catastrophe after catastrophe, mistaking vigilance for responsibility. By nightfall, they are exhausted, not from action, from anticipation. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Worry does not protect you. It does not prepare you. It does not prevent catastrophe. Most of the time, it only rehearses suffering. And suffering rehearsed still leaves scars. Centuries ago, in a France torn apart by religious wars, plague, and political instability, a man withdrew to a tower library and began writing about the human condition. His name was Michel de Montaigne. He lived in a world far more unstable than ours. Civil war between Catholics and Protestants. The Black Death still echoing through Europe. Political assassinations, betrayal as a daily currency. And yet he refused to live in constant anxiety. He saw something most people still refuse to admit. We suffer more from imagination than from reality. Modern neuroscience would later confirm what Montaigne sensed intuitively. Chronic worry activates the same neural pathways as physical pain. Excess cortisol damages memory, impairs immunity, shortens life expectancy. Rumination weakens decision-making. Anxiety convinces us we are thinking clearly while slowly eroding clarity itself. Still, we cling to worry as if it were a virtue. We call it responsibility. We call it foresight. We call it caring. But what if it is only fear wearing a respectable mask? This is not an argument for carelessness. It is an argument for liberation. A deeper look at why we worry, what it costs us, and why Montaigne's quiet skepticism may be one of the most radical psychological medicines ever written. Because maybe the voice in your head is not wisdom. Maybe it is conditioning. Maybe it is ancient biology mistaking possibility for threat. And maybe it can be undone. In 1563, Montaigne began to understand something unsettling. Human beings overestimate their knowledge and underestimate their fragility. We walk on fragile threads, he wrote in Essais, yet we behave as if the ground were solid. The brain despises uncertainty. It evolved to predict danger. In prehistoric times, that bias kept us alive. Better to imagine a predator that isn't there than ignore one that is. But evolution never updated the system. Now the predator is a future email, a meeting, a health result, an opinion someone might have, a scenario that may never unfold. The amygdala fires, cortisol rises, heart rate accelerates. The body prepares for survival. Yet there is nothing to fight. Worry is a false alarm that refuses to turn off. We tell ourselves, if I think about it enough, I'll be ready. But thinking is not the same as preparation. It only creates the sensation of preparation. Here lies the nihilistic fracture in our illusion. You are not in control of most outcomes. You never were. Your health can shift. Markets crash. People leave. Accidents happen. History proves this mercilessly. Consider Europe during the plague. Entire towns vanished. Consider the trenches of World War I. Consider modern economic collapses, pandemics, earthquakes, random diagnoses. Control is thinner than we admit. The Stoic philosopher Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Montaigne agreed, but he went further. He distrusted certainty itself. Whenever fear presented a scenario, he would ask, "What if I am wrong?" That single question weakens anxiety's authority, because worry thrives on assumed inevitability. What if the disaster never comes? What if you adapt better than expected? What if the mind exaggerates threat as a habit? Modern research suggests that the majority of anticipated worries never materialize. And when negative events do occur, people routinely report greater resilience than predicted. The mind is dramatic. Reality is often duller. Yet the damage of chronic anticipation is real. Ethan Kross, psychologist and neuroscientist, has shown how excessive rumination overloads the prefrontal cortex. The more we analyze without resolution, the less capable we become of decisive action. Overthinking feels intelligent. It is often paralysis disguised as thoughtfulness. Shakespeare captured this in Hamlet. Hamlet does not lack intelligence. He lacks movement. His mind circles endlessly around possibility. His tragedy is not ignorance. It is hesitation. Montaigne understood this centuries earlier. A life spent preparing for disaster is a life never lived. There is something deeply unfair about performance under pressure. The student who obsesses over perfection forgets the answer. The athlete who fears failure misses the shot. The speaker who worries about judgment stumbles. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi called the optimal state flow. It emerges when attention is focused but relaxed. Effortless effort. Presence without self-surveillance. The moment ego intervenes, I must succeed, I must not fail. Performance deteriorates. This is not spiritual mysticism. It is measurable. Studies at the University of Chicago demonstrated that basketball players performed worse when stakes were artificially heightened. Excess self-monitoring disrupted automatic skill. Worry hijacks instinct. Here is the deeper pessimistic truth. The harder you try to control outcomes, the more you interfere with the natural intelligence of your body and mind. In Greek mythology, Icarus flew too close to the sun and fell. We interpret this as arrogance. But there is another reading. Excess fear can melt wings just as effectively as excess pride. Try not to think of a white bear. Now you are thinking of one. Suppression strengthens what it attempts to destroy. The brain scans for the forbidden thought to ensure it is absent. In doing so, it keeps it alive. Worry operates the same way. The more you try to eliminate uncertainty, the more conscious you become of it. Montaigne treated life less like an exam and more like a river. You participate. You do not command. Acceptance sounds passive. It is not. It is strategic surrender. There is a Zen story. A man falls into a raging river. He thrashes, fights, resists. Exhaustion pulls him under. Finally, he stops struggling. His body floats. Resistance consumed him. Surrender saved him. Montaigne lived through massacres and political chaos. He saw death not as abstraction but as neighbor. Yet he wrote with startling lightness. He understood something bleak but liberating. Suffering is inevitable. Additional mental torture is optional. The Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius divided life into two domains, what is within control and what is not. Anxiety confuses the categories. Modern psychology confirms this. Emotional suppression increases neural activation in threat circuits. Acceptance reduces physiological stress responses. Carl Jung later wrote, "What you resist persists." The nihilistic edge of this insight is uncomfortable. You cannot eliminate pain. You can only decide whether to add narrative to it. Pain is an event. Worry is a story. When you stop fighting reality, something paradoxical happens. Energy returns. Attention sharpens. Action becomes clearer. Acceptance is not resignation. It is clarity without drama. We live in an age of amplified catastrophe. News cycles monetize fear. Social media rewards outrage. Algorithms feed anxiety because anxiety keeps you scrolling. Your nervous system was not designed for global awareness. The Buddha taught that attachment is the root of suffering. Montaigne, though not Buddhist, reached a similar conclusion. We cling to identities, expectations, imagined futures. We cling to the version of ourselves that must succeed. We cling to relationships as permanent. We cling to narratives of control. But impermanence is not poetic. It is biological. Cells die, economies shift, bodies age, civilizations fall. History is not optimistic, and yet there is strange freedom in admitting this. If nothing is permanent, then your current anxiety is not permanent either. Taoist philosophy speaks of Wu Wei, action without force. The tree that bends survives the storm. The rigid branch snaps. Detachment does not mean indifference, it means flexibility. Montaigne laughed at his own ignorance. He did not attempt to become a monument of certainty. He wrote essays, attempts, explorations. He allowed contradiction. This humility dismantles anxiety. If you are not required to be perfect, you are free to experiment. What if your life is not a verdict but a draft? Here is the harsh reality. Worry feels productive because it avoids risk. Action exposes you, but avoidance enlarges fear. When you delay a task out of anxiety, the brain marks it as threat. Dopamine decreases. Cortisol remains elevated. The task grows in symbolic size. Take one step, however small, and neurochemistry shifts. Dopamine rises. Momentum begins. Confidence does not precede action. Action precedes confidence. Montaigne believed that knowledge grows through experience, not endless speculation. He treated life as experiment. 3 principles emerge from his thinking. Admit ignorance. You do not need full certainty to move. Replace theory with contact. Test reality directly. Treat mistakes as data, not identity. This dissolves perfectionism. You are not on trial. You are in motion. Montaigne did not eliminate uncertainty. He befriended it. He did not conquer fear. He reduced its authority. He recognized that life is brief, fragile, unpredictable, and instead of tightening his grip, he loosened it. There is melancholy in this philosophy. It does not promise salvation. It does not promise control. It does not promise permanent peace. It offers something quieter, proportion. You will suffer. You will lose things. You will misunderstand and be misunderstood. Worry will not prevent this, but it will steal the only thing you truly possess, the present moment. So perhaps the real question is not how to eliminate anxiety forever. Perhaps the question is simpler. How much of your limited life are you willing to sacrifice to possibilities that may never exist? Less worry is not laziness. It is rebellion against unnecessary suffering. It is humility before chaos. It is spiritual realism. And in a world addicted to panic, that may be the closest thing to freedom. Less worry, more life. Most people won't admit it, but worry has stolen years from their lives. Not days, years. Hours replaying conversations that never happened. Nights rehearsing disasters that never arrived. Energy poured into ghosts. And all the while life keeps moving. Quiet, fragile, finite. Montaigne understood this centuries ago. He lived surrounded by war, plague, and instability. Yet he refused to surrender his inner world to fear. He chose reflection over panic, presence over prediction. That's what this channel is about. Not empty motivation, not noise, but clarity, depth. The kind of thinking that helps you breathe again in a world addicted to anxiety. If these videos have helped you slow down, think differently, or feel less alone in your doubts, then you're already part of something meaningful. Just watching, reflecting, and sharing is a powerful form of support. It keeps these ideas alive. But if you feel this work deserves something more, if it has genuinely given you value, you can become a member of the channel. Membership helps sustain deeper research, more thoughtful scripts, and gives you access to exclusive content and closer connection to this community. And if you prefer a simple gesture, super thanks is there. A direct way to say, "This mattered." No pressure, no obligation. Your presence here already means more than you think. But if you choose to support beyond watching, you're not just funding videos. You're investing in a space where fewer people waste their lives worrying, and more people learn how to live.